Welcome or welcome back to We Rock in Math with Miss Catherine. For those of you who are new, welcome to this channel. On this channel, we have math videos that will help you solve math problems a bit more easy and faster. So please consider subscribing to this channel for more math content. There'll be a link to the subscription channel down below. Make sure to check it out. Today's topic is going to be on subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. If you haven't watched the previous video on subtracting fractions with like denominators, you should do so because it's a little bit more complicated with unlike denominators. So you can click the upper right corner to refresh your concept of subtracting fractions with like denominators. Once you have reviewed that, you can come back to this video. If you're good with that video, then you can just proceed to watch this video. We have 3 important steps we want to use when we're going through these type of problems. The first step is to change denominators to be the same, which means finding the LCM. Next, we want to subtract the numerators. And finally, we want to simplify. Looking at the first example, our denominators are 10 and 40. We want the denominators to be the same number, so we want to find the LCM. In order to find the LCM, we want to look at the larger number of the 2 and change the other number to have the same denominator. The larger number between 10 and 40 is 40. Next, we can list out the multiples of the larger number. So you list out multiples of 40, which would be 40, 80, 120. Next, we want to see if this other denominator that we didn't list multiples of can be divided by one of these multiples. And we're going to start from the beginning of our list here, which is 40. So you think, is 10 divisible by 40? Well, yes, it is. In order to arrive at the answer 40, we multiply 10 by 4. And whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So you multiply this 8 by 4. Then we evaluate our equations. 8 times 4 is 32. Keep the denominator the same. 40. And subtracting. And since the second fraction already has that 40 on the bottom, we just copy the numerator. Now we subtract the numerators. 32 minus 12 equals 20. Keep our denominator the same. We have 40. Now you see both the 20 and the 40 have zeros at the end. And a simple way of simplifying is to cross out these zeros. Now you see we are left with a 2 and a 4. Let's just rewrite this again. Which can be simplified to 1 half. Because we see the common factor between 2 and 4 is a 2. That is the greatest common factor. So you can divide the top and the bottom by 2. Going back to this step, when we had the 20 and the 40, you can simplify it, but there would just be many more steps until we get to this 2 and the 4. You could divide by 20 on the top and bottom, and that would also give you the answer of 1 over 2, or half. So whenever you see zeros at the end of the numbers, you can cross out the zeros. Let's look at number 2. We have 12 sixteenths minus 7 24ths. We see the denominators are different, so we want to change them to be the same. We are going to look at the two denominators and see which one is larger. 24 is a larger one. We can start listing multiples of 24. Which would be 24, 48, 72. Now we see if this 16 can be divided by one of these multiples. Well, let's see. Does 16 go into 24? No, it can't. How about 48? Yes, looks like that works. So in order to get to 48, we're thinking 16 times what number equals 48? Well, it will be 3. So we're going to multiply the bottom and the top by 3. Once we change our first fraction, we're going to change our second fraction. So same thing. Now we have 24. And we think 24 times what number equals 48? It would be 2. 24 times 2. Now we can evaluate. 12 times 3 is 36. Keep the denominator the same, which is our 48. Copy down the subtraction sign, and we still have 48 for the denominator on the second fraction. And the numerator is going to be 14, because 7 times 2 is 14. Now we just subtract the numerators. 36 minus 14 equals 22. Keep the denominator the same. We have 48. Now we see if we can simplify. We can. So you want to find the greatest common factor between 22 and 48, which would be 2. Greatest common factor between 22 and 48 is 2. So you divide the top and the bottom by 2. 22 divided by 2 is 11. 48 divided by 2 is 24. And check to see if it can be simplified any further, which it can't, because 1 is the only factor left in common between 11 and 24. And when 1 is the only factor left, that's when you know that you are finished. So the final answer is 11/24. Moving on to number 3. We have 15/20 minus 6/30. We are going to find the LCM since the denominators are not the same. We're going to look at the larger denominator, which is this 30, and start listing multiples of 30. We can just list a few. So we have 30, 60, 90, 120. Now we see if this 20, this other denominator, can be divided by one of these numbers. So let's go down the list here. Let's check 30. Does 20 go into 30? Can it be divided by 30? Nope, it can't. How about 60? Can 20 be divided by 60? Yes, it can. And that would be multiplied by 3. 20 would be multiplied by 3 because 20 times 3 equals 60. And if you're thinking, 20 times what number equals 60? Well, this is just a division problem. If you need to, you can divide. So as a review, we can do a little long division problem here. 60 divided by 20. So remember, we can't divide 6 by 20 because we don't have enough. So we take this whole number, 60 divided by 20, which gives us 3. And that's how we know we're multiplying by 3. So we multiplied the bottom by 3. That means you have to multiply the top by 3 as well. Now we're going to change the denominator of the second fraction. Instead of 20 times what number equals 60, it would be 30 times what number equals 60. This would be a 2. Now we evaluate. 15 times 3 is 45. Keep the denominator the same, which is a 60. Subtract. We have 60 as the denominator of the second fraction, and the numerator is going to be a 12. Now we subtract the numerators. 45 minus 12 equals 33. Keep the denominator the same, which is a 60. Check to see if you can simplify. We can, because 1 is the only factor in common between 33 and 60. 3 can go into 33 as an example, but it wouldn't go into 60. So we want to make sure that the number we're thinking of would be able to be divided by both numbers, not just one number. So our final answer is 33 over 60. Let's look at our last example. We have 7/11 minus 2/4. We want to change the denominators to be the same since they're different. See which denominator is larger of the two. It would be this 11. Then you start listing multiples of 11, which should be 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. Now we want to see if 4 can be divided by one of these multiples. Let's check. We're going to go through our list here. Can 4 go into 11? No, it can't. How about 22? No, that doesn't work either. How about 33? Nope. How about 44? Yes, that works. So 4 times 11 will give us that 44. Whatever you do to the bottom, you also do to the top. And now let's change our other fraction. 11 times what number equals 44? Well, it would be 4. So we multiply the bottom by 4 and the top by 4. Now we just evaluate. 28, 4 times 7 is 28, over 44, minus, and we're keeping the denominator of the second fraction as 44 also. And the numerator is 2 times 11, which gives us 22. And that would equal 6 over 44. Now we see if it can be simplified any further, which it can. We have more than one factor of 1 in common between the 6 and the 44, which is going to be a 2. So we divide top and bottom by 2. Six divided by 2 equals 3. 44 divided by 2 is 22. And that is our final answer, because 1 is the only factor in common between the 3 and the 22. So our final answer is 3 over 22. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below what other topics you would like to see. And if you do subscribe, leave a comment below saying, "I subscribed." I will personally try to reply to your comment. Until then, keep rocking at math. I'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.